Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we're going to continue debunking CP video. So let's get started.
Yeah, but obviously this is a lie. As an example, in the Quran there's a story about the 7 sleepers in chapter 18. 7 sleepers. Everybody knows that this is a story written by a Christian. He is from Syria. His name Bishop Yaqub. And he wrote a story for the youth to encourage them to handle the discrimination. It's a fiction story.
See, that's my point, is that there's, behind this.
So firstly, he doesn't present any evidence to suggest that this was a fiction story. Simply asserting it is a fiction story, that's a fallacy. You gotta obviously show evidence. You can't just simply say this is a fiction story. Let me show you some sources that are relevant to this. Okay, so this is Wikipedia, but this is like the only kind of website I could really properly find that actually mentions some detail, that some clear details. So it's actually venerated by Eastern Christianity as well. So they venerate this story as well. The earliest version of it comes from the Syrian bishop Jacob. So that's the one he's talking about, which is itself derived from an earlier Greek source. So it's actually derived from an early Greek source, which is now lost. So it doesn't mention anything about a story or anything like this here. So he talks about the manuscripts. Let's see here. So he just talks about the details regarding them, the origins. So it doesn't mention anything about being a fiction. I don't know what source he's reading. Maybe I can have a look at it and then I will be able to determine. But it doesn't mention any source. Just because it's historians might have just brushed it off as a fiction, it doesn't mean it's a fiction. Because obviously historians, if they're atheists or if they don't believe in God, they might be agnostic towards this, and they might not believe in miracles. So anyhow, let me show you one more source and then we'll continue the video. So this video I'm gonna attach to the comment section, and you guys can see this video. It's a really good video about the 7 sleepers. So if you look in the description box, there's also an article regarding this that goes into more detail. But here just wrote basic information, which is that it says we do not have access to the information that was recorded by pre-Islamic sources like Jacob. One cannot be certain if the information present in the earlier sources match or conflict with what has been narrated in order to make a case for plagiarism. Because besides plagiarism, you have to have the access to the previous sources and to determine whether it's all matching or not. More importantly, the Quran clearly conflicts with the late account. So even the late account that's been preserved, it conflicts in multiple areas, from geography of the events to the ideologies held by the sleepers. So you can read more here, and I'm gonna link this video. You guys can check it out, inshallah. Okay, let's continue with the video.
Behind the stories, whether in the Torah, the Bible.
But your God, the problem is your God. He take the story from this guy, which is a fiction story, and he speak about it as if it's real story, and he claims it's coming from Allah. Imagine I write a book. Imagine Shakespeare, he write a book, and then your God, he take the story. He says.
So yeah, he hasn't proved anything like this so far. So he has to give some proof for this.
I am the one who wrote the book. Your God is not exist. Your God, is a pagan God. As an example, why your prophet he kissed the black stone? Why?
So now this fallacious reasoning, he starts off with, now it goes on to a different topic, which is the black stone topic. So it's fallacious reasoning. Why? Because he's equating kissing to paganism. So in what world, in what universe is kissing anything equals to paganism? That's absurd in reasoning. It's irrelevant if it's an inanimate object or it's an animate. So if I kiss a human, does that mean I'm worshipping the human? So it's a completely illogical argument that he's making. However, unfortunately, some people don't understand this, and they don't they quickly jump the gun and they conclude, and they kind of agree with him. So that's a massive error they fall into. So let's continue.
Why your prophet he kissed the black stone?
I mean, you're
So he asked the question why. So now, even if we say we don't know why, it doesn't it doesn't mean it's there's no conclusion he can reach that can be detrimental to the religion. So even if you say we don't know why he kissed it, there's no conclusion um, that he can reach that it would be detrimental. However, we can infer from certain texts, from Islamic texts, that he kissed this out of respect because it's a piece of paradise. So we have hadith, which is mentioned in Mishkat al-Masabih, in the hadith number is 2577. So Sahih hadith, where it talks about it's from paradise. So he did this out of respect because it's from paradise. So this is something that we can infer. Also, let me give you a reference for this. Give me a second. So Quran 22 verse 20 tells us that we should honor the sacred rights of the Creator. So the sacred rights of Allah, we should honor them. So hence, this is something that Allah sent down. So we honor this in that respect. And so that's what we do. So we respect the stone that Allah sent from paradise. And Allah's actually attached certain benefits from it. So he by kissing it, our sins fall off. It expiates our sins. So yeah, so now, in what world is this worship? So we also do prostration, we do ablution, which forgives sins. So when we prostrate, does that mean the floor is God or something? It's completely fallacious reasoning that he's employing. So let's continue, inshallah.
read that in hadith, didn't you?
Well, I read that in the hadith. Don't you pray in the direction of that stone today? Don't you?
So now he's talking about the direction of the Kaaba. So in the direction of the mosque that was built by Prophet Abraham. Now, it's fallacious reasoning. Praying towards a direction, does that mean worship it? Of course not. Now watch, I'm going to show you his hypocrisy. Because in the Bible it talks about how they used to pray towards the direction. Let me give you some references. Okay, so this is Psalms 138, verse 2. It says, I will bow down toward your holy temple and I will praise your name for your unfailing love. So this is David saying this. So you can see on the right the context. Because a lot of Christians might say, oh, where's the context? So let's see the context. It says, I will give thanks. I will give you thanks with all my heart of David. So David is saying this. Then it continues. But that's not relevant. So let's even go to the commentary, because they might want to look at the commentary on this. Click on commentary. So the pulpit commentary speaks about the temple. It says, I will worship toward the holy temple. And so here they talk about what temple this is, and then they give you more details about this. So even when you look in commentaries or the context, it doesn't make no difference. This is a literal temple that they're praying towards. And this is David doing this. And David is a prophet according to the Bible. So that should be clear now. This is a hypocritical stance that he's taking because it's in his own Bible about praying towards a temple. Okay, let's continue.
Don't you?
Yeah. Do you know it's
Okay.
the golden ratio of the earth?
The golden ratio. This is have to do with what?
That's a sign for mankind.
This is a sign from mankind. What? This is the Trinity. Golden ratio is 1 to 2. That's means Trinity. Do you Muslims believe in the Trinity?
No,
So now he's just he's acting silly. He's just saying the number 3 equals Trinity. How does that equal Trinity? She's talking about the golden ratio or something completely off topic, right? From belief, and she's talking about a completely different topic, and she just mentions like the golden ratio about 3 or something, right? He's trying to infer that that's the Trinity or something. What absurdity!
the universe, the earth, I mean.
I know, but the golden ratio is 1 to 2, 3, Trinity. So do you believe in the Trinity?
No, I don't believe in the
So
Trinity.
what you are mentioning the golden ratio, you have nothing to do with the golden ratio. What golden ratio?
The golden ratio, where we see it in when in God's best creations. Like even the human face has the golden ratio.
My friend, I'm not an atheist. I believe in God. You don't tell me that. This is something you tell to somebody who's an atheist. This is not my business now. I'm asking you.
Okay, so let's go to the golden ratio. Let's see what that's all about. Okay, so regarding the golden ratio, I'm not able to explain it properly. So I've found a video which is quite like it's well detailed regarding this. So I'll play it, and you guys can hear it and decide for yourself regarding the golden ratio. But I'm not personally well informed on it to make any judgment. But let's go through this video.
They were companions of the Prophet who stood on the Kaaba and gave the Adhan. No idol worshipper will ever stand on the Kaaba and give the Adhan. Proving that no Muslim ever worshipped the Kaaba, it's only the Qibla, it's a direction.
Not only salah towards the Kaaba, rather the circumambulation is also a sign of unity. If you look to the creation, from the tiny world of quantum to the huge celestial bodies in the universe, from the very atom to the biggest stars and planets, they are all rotating and circumambulating around a certain axis in a counterclockwise direction. And this is exactly what the Muslims are doing around the Kaaba. So in Islam, it's an act of worship. It means in nature, everything is worshipping the Almighty Creator, but not the body which is in the center of the circumambulation. This represents the unity in the whole creation. Beside the logical fact, there's a scientific reasoning about the Kaaba. When a person puts his head on the ground towards the Kaaba, the harmful charges would be released out of his body in a perfect manner, and it causes the body to balance its energy system. To know how it works, first you should know about the concept of the golden ratio. The golden ratio is a proportion of a longer distance to a shorter one, which is equal to phi constant, 1.618. This ratio is also called the divine proportion because the Almighty Creator has used the very same proportion in a great number of events. If we apply this ratio on Earth, we will find out that the golden point of the globe is the city of Mecca, whereas the golden point of Mecca is holy Kaaba. So because it's the golden point of the globe, it is the strongest energetic field on Earth.
فالمركزية جاءت وفتحت في الاتجاه العلمي. بمعنى ايه؟ ان هم لما طلعوا في الفضاء وصوروا فلقوا الارض كرة معلقة ومظلمة، ولذلك حتى الراجل قال ايه؟ اجدها كرة مظلمة معلقة، من الذي علقها؟ هو يريد هو أرمسترونج، وكان كأنه يريد أن يقول بلسان الحال لا بلسان المقال الله الذي علقها. ووجدوا فيها شعاع يخرج من الأرض، كتبوه في الشبكة العنكبوتية في الإنترنت وخلوه على مدى 21 يوم ثم أخفوه. أخفوه لماذا؟ يعني الأمور تتبع يعني مقاصدها يعني إخفاؤه دعنا نقول إنه له دلالة مثلا، له دلالة كبيرة جدا لسبب لأن هذا البيت العتيق يعني هم لما جم ولقوا فيها شعاع، لما لقوا هذا الشعاع ابتدوا يركزوا الصورة فوجدوا انه خارج من مكة، وبالتركيز وجدوا انه خارج من الكعبة.
For understanding how the golden mean provides an energetic field, you can take the example of the galaxies or planets, which emits the energy from the center point to the outer edges, just like a nuclear which balances the energy system with the electrons which are rotating around it. It means they are taking the negative energies and giving the positive energies for balancing purpose.
وبالتالي عندما تطوف أنت تشحن. معلش سبحان الله، أيوة هذه حقيقة.
Now the investigations show that every day our body collects electromagnetic charges from its surrounding which are harmful for us, and these charges concentrate to the forehead, meaning the frontal lobe of the brain, which causes depression, headache, laziness, mental pressure, and even more dangerous problems. This forehead part of the brain is known as the frontal chakra, throughout which the body takes positive and negative energy. It is observed that these harmful charges can be released by putting our head down on the ground, but for a better result we should put the frontal chakra of our body in a direction towards the strongest energetic field of the earth, meaning the Kaaba. Dr. Andrew Newsberg studied the brainwave activity during the prayer. He found some direct impact on several brain locations. The benefits of prayer are incredible. Regular daily prayer helps the frontal lobe from shrinking with age, which is the part of the brain that regulates our speaking, reading, and memory. Therefore, this helps to prevent memory loss in old ages. A perfect form of meditation which brings us to a state of tranquility.
هناك بحث ان صخور مكه البازلتيه السوداء هي اقدم الصخور الموجوده في العالم. هذا كلام حقيقي.
اقدم الصخور، اي هذا اثبت علميا.
اثبت علميا وبحث منشور، وليس
اخذوا صخور بازلتيه من
بازلتيه من مكه وشافوا المناطق اللي بتتكون هنا. الامر انه المتحف البريطاني فيه 3 شرايح من الحجر الاسود، وقالوا هذا الحجر ليس من صخور المجموعه الشمسيه.
The latitude of the coordinates of Kaaba is 21 degrees and 25 minutes. The first verse that describes Kaaba is the verse 225. Could this mathematic harmony be a simple coincidence? The possibility of the numbers depicted in the Quran with order number 114 rising until verse 286, which describe the Kaaba for the first time, has a chance of 1 in 100,000 for them to appear next to each other. Surah 2, verse 125. The part of the coordinates after the comma can be described in the form of minutes, as well as in ratios and percentages. In order to handle the upcoming objections, when we look at the coordinates of Kaaba by changing them to percentage ratios, we come across the following verse. Surah 2, verse 142. Hence, no matter how we look at it, there is a sign in the verses that point to Kaaba, and this could only be possible with the wisdom of God.
Although there are scientific facts behind every command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the Muslims should obey them without any reasoning. Because there is always a wisdom behind any order of the Creator that people cannot easily unlock the secret. But for us it is important to seek the satisfaction of our own Creator.
So yeah, let's go back to the video and see if there's any other comments to make.
Why you Muslims pray toward a stone, in direction of a stone, born in front of a stone, and you kiss a stone? If you are a person who worship the God of Abraham, the God of Moses, and you don't believe in the paganism, why you kiss the stones and go around the stone and go down in front of a stone? Tell me.
The Qibla was changed, right?
This is not the question. Why you kiss a stone, pray in front of a stone, pray in direction of a stone, go around the stone? This is the question.
Yeah, I believe I answered this sufficiently. This is direction. This is where like Prophet Abraham built it as a mosque. This is where we do our pilgrimage. So yeah, I believe I answered this sufficiently, and I also answered that just because a person does an action, you can't just equate it to paganism. You have to demonstrate how it is. We actually have to take it as a deity. No one in history has ever deified the black stone. So let's continue.
I don't know the answer. I can't tell you the answer.
Yeah, because you're a pagan. That's the whole story. People who kiss stones, people who think stones are holy, they must be pagans. As simple as that. There's no holy stone.
But are
Shiny
they
stone.
worshiping the stone?
Huh?
They're not worshiping the stone.
So why you kiss the stone? Tell me. You don't worship.
Okay, so interesting enough, there's in the Bible, there's actually a stone that was actually respected. So this guy is a hypocrite again. In the Bible, there's a stone that was oiled. There's an offering that was made to the stone. Let me give you some references. Okay, so some references. Genesis chapter 28, verse 18 says the stone was oiled. If you look in Genesis 31:13, says God approved of it. And then Genesis 35:14 says there's a poured out a drink offering on it. And so it's very clear that this stone was respected, and because it was a vision that Jacob had. And so due to this reason, it serves as a function as a cornerstone. So same with the black stone, it serves as a cornerstone. Same thing with the Bible, where it serves as a cornerstone because he had a vision there, and so he basically respected the stone. So if you look at biblical commentaries by Donald Spencer Jones, so if you look into that on Bible Hub, you'll find he says that the holiness of the stone. He mentions that the holiness of the stone. So this guy's a hypocrite. Like his own biblical commentators have mentioned this. He also has a stone in the Bible that serves in a similar way. I can give you some more references regarding Prophet Moses. Prophet Moses was he bowed, according to the Bible, right? He bowed to a man, bowed to a human. Let me give you a reference for that. Okay, so a reference for this is Exodus chapter 18, verse 7, where it talks about him bowing to Moses, bowing and kissing a human. So now, if bowing, just think about bowing, right? Bowing is such a major act. Now, are we going to say Moses was worshipping someone else? So this is a massive error he's falling into. This was done out of respect according to the Bible, right? Also, if you look at Psalms, let's see. I already mentioned about the temple, bowing towards the temple, David. Also, if you guys want to look at, so during Peter's sermon, right, he said in Acts 2:29, he says, um, David is a prophet. So that's the reference for David being a prophet. Okay, and also in Genesis 18, chapter 2, Abraham bowed to people. So that's an interesting thing you want to look at. If you want, there's also another reference which is Genesis 22, verse 7 and 12. So you guys can check that out. So you can see what kind of big hypocrite he is, how he ignores the Bible and he attacks another belief.
The stone, so why you kiss the stone?
People kiss food.
No,
I've seen
this is
people kiss
okay.
food.
Hold on. I kiss food as a symbolic for being thankful for God because I eat it. Okay, do you eat the stone?
No.
Okay, so why you kiss the stone? Give me the reason. I kiss my mother as an example. I kiss her hand. Huh? Does that mean I worship my mother? No, but this is my mother. Why you kiss the stone? She's your mother.
I think people, kiss it because they love the prophet.
So why the prophet kiss it? Okay, people they kiss, guys, this is a good answer. She's smart. People they kiss the stone because they love the prophet. Okay, why the prophet he kiss the stone?
I don't know why he did that.
Because he's a pagan, obviously. He's a pagan man,
Yeah, I've already gave the reason. So
you Muslims, you follow Muhammad blindly. It doesn't matter what you do. He kiss the stone, we kiss the stone. I don't want to be rude with you. What if Muhammad he kiss a donkey? Are you going to kiss?
now this guy is going to be foolish. He's going to use hypotheticals. If we use hypotheticals, we can use the same thing we just got. Because what if the God was a donkey? You see, you can use hypotheticals to try to make people laugh, basically.
Donkey do. What if Muhammad he tied a donkey to the Kaaba and he kissed the bum of the donkey? All of you Muslims will kiss the donkey just because he kissed a donkey?
We do know that his job was to deliver the message, and he's done that.
What message? He made a message says any woman she want to take off her panties. Is that the message of God?
Okay, so nothing like that was made. So that's the next point he's going to go on to, and inshallah we'll continue from that. He's going to make a like I said, this guy's a perverted guy. If you guys been following all the videos I've been making, all the parts, you'll know this guy's very perverted. He talks about intimacy so much. So it's quite interesting. But we'll continue that next video inshallah. اوكي سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك السلام عليكم